First at 9. This is Other Derana 24/7.
In tonight's headlines, President in Indonesia scheduled to address IORA Leaders Summit tomorrow. Parliamentarian Bimal further remanded until the 20th of this month. Heroin worth 130 million rupees seized in Grand Pass. And in international headlines, North Korea in further missile test amidst international warnings. Good evening, Mahesh Johnny with Other Derana 24/7. We are live across Sri Lanka this hour. Here's a first look at the local stories. President Maithripala Sirisena left the country this morning to attend the Indian Ocean Rim Association Leaders Summit, which commences in Jakarta tomorrow. This is the first time in 47 years that an incumbent Sri Lankan state leader engages in a state visit to Indonesia.
President Maithripala Sirisena arrived at the Jakarta Soekarno-Hatta International Airport this afternoon, where he was received by a special delegation including Indonesian Minister of Public Works and Housing, Basuki Hadimuljono. The president later met with Sri Lankans and officials gathered at the Sri Lankan High Commission in Indonesia, where a nar sapling was planted in honor of the president's visit. On the sidelines of IORA, President Maithripala Sirisena is expected to engage in bilateral discussions with heads of state and leaders of South Africa, Bangladesh, Australia and India. The president's state visit to Indonesia will commence with the conclusion of the Indian Ocean Rim Association Leaders Summit. During the visit, President Sirisena and his Indonesian counterpart Joko Widodo will sign 2 agreements on cooperation in the fields of fisheries and small and medium enterprises. Tomorrow, the president is scheduled to attend the inaugural ceremony of the IORA summit. He will also address the summit at 11 o'clock Sri Lankan time. The Indian Ocean Rim Association, or IORA, is celebrating its 20th anniversary in March this year. The Leaders' Summit will be held under the theme Strengthening Maritime Cooperation for a Peaceful, Stable and Prosperous Indian Ocean. The summit will bring together the leaders of 21 IORA member states and its 7 dialogue partners, as well as other special invitees and guests.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe emphasises that the government is focused on paving educational opportunities for students through the introduction of educational schemes. The Premier was addressing the ceremony for International Award of Duke Edinburgh held at the Temple Trees today.
The National Youth Award Division of the National Youth Service Council offers the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award Programme across all provinces and districts in the island. The award comprises 3 levels and 4 sections and is available for participants between the ages of 14 and 24.
I would like especially to place on record our appreciation of the Duke of Edinburgh International Award Scheme. His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh conceived of this scheme to give young people a chance of showing their talent, to displaying their skills and to also form their character and their leadership ability. What we are doing here in Sri Lanka is to use the Duke of Edinburgh International Award Scheme plus many other schemes to ensure that that talent is brought out. We have really a talented youth population. It's how they display their skills, how we give them the opportunity, how we can recognize more of them, the larger numbers. That is the issue we have. That's what we are tackling.
In other local stories, speaking in LPDO today, General Secretary of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, Telvin Silva, says that certain ministers within the government are ready to topple this regime.
Although helmets are worn for safety, the government has decided to abolish full-face helmets. The former government previously took the same decision. But now people have to protest against helmets as well. About 1.5 months ago, people from Hambantota protested against the Hambantota issue. Everyone has issues regarding their own rights. Therefore, all are in agreement that this government should be defeated. People are disappointed. Former leaders like Mahinda Rajapaksa also agree that the government should be toppled. Even people within the government say it should be toppled. Minister Dilan Pereira says that this government should be toppled and a SLFP-led rule should be established. We are now at a juncture where everyone is talking about toppling the government. But the question is, after toppling the government, what kind of rule are we to establish? What policy decisions should that government initiate, and how should it solve issues? Therefore, it will be useless toppling a government without having answers to those. If not, it will be the same old game of toppling governments that we have engaged in for the past 68 years.
Former Superintendent of the Public Debt Department, Deepa Seneviratne, testifying before the Commission of Inquiry on the controversial Treasury bond issuance, revealed that she had to sign the acceptance of bids worth over 10 billion rupees during the February 27, 2015 auction.
Convening sittings for an 8th day, the Commission of Inquiry investigating the issuance of Treasury bonds questioned Deepa Seneviratne on the process of her being appointed as Superintendent of the Public Debt Department in February 2015. In response, Deepa Seneviratne said she was surprised when the then Central Bank Governor Arjuna Mahendran informed via an email on the 6th of February 2015 of her appointment. She added that although she had explained to the then governor of her ineligibility to hold the post as it requires technical knowledge, he had asked her to consider the position as a challenge and proceed with duties. The former superintendent of the Public Debt Department added that she was constantly working in consultation with the then additional superintendent of the Public Debt Department, Mohammad Azim, who was equipped with thorough technical knowledge. However, she also revealed that Arjuna Mahendran had informed her that he was hoping to give Mohammad Azim an internal transfer to another department in the central bank within the first 2 weeks after she was appointed as the superintendent. After 2 weeks, P. Samarasiri had been appointed as chairman of the tender committee. She also testified that the former governor Arjuna Mahendran visited the Public Debt Department on the 27th of February 2015, the day on which the said auction took place, and ordered the tender committee to accept bids worth 10 billion rupees. According to Deepa Seneviratne, Arjuna Mahendran had left the Public Debt Department, instructing to accept bids worth 10 billion rupees, despite Mohammad Azim and members of the tender committee continuously explaining that interest rates would hike if all bids were accepted. Responding to further inquiries by the Commission, Deepa Seneviratne said that members of the tender committee had to sign the bid sheet, when then Deputy Government of the Central Bank informed them that the Governor will not change his decision regardless of opposition. When Supreme Court Justice Prasanna Jayawardene further questioned Deepa as to why she signed the document if she didn't agree with the decision of the Governor, she stated that she was unable to disregard orders of her superior. Tomorrow, the Commission of Inquiry will question the incumbent Superintendent of the Public Debt Department, T.H.B. Sarath Chandra.
A suspect in possession of 12 kilograms of heroin was arrested during a raid in the Grand Pass area this afternoon. Police spokesman DIG Priyantha Jakudi said that the heroin is worth 130 million rupees. During the raid, police also uncovered cash amounting to 200 million rupees.
The suspect who was carrying the heroin in his bag was found during a search mission for firearms in the Mahavatta area. Preliminary investigation has revealed that this incident is part of a large-scale organized drug trafficking operation. Therefore, further investigations are underway in this area.
Welcome back, and on to business news now. Stocks were higher after the close today as gains in the land and property, beverages and tobacco and power and energy sectors led shares higher. At the close in Colombo, the Colombo Stock Exchange, all share rose 0.26%. We now have Imeshi Fernando with the day's rounding up from the trading floor.
The benchmark all-share price index gained 15.68 points to close at 6,117.19, while the S&P Sri Lanka 20 index gained 9.6 points to close at 3,534.37. The turnover was 711.86 million rupees with 17.7 million shares changing hands in 2,883 trades. The market capitalization at the end of the day was 2,686.25 billion rupees. Top 5 gainers of the day were Property Development, Central Investments and Finance, Lucky Lanka non-voting, Softlogic Finance and Lion Brewery, while the top 5 losers were SNB Leasing, non-voting, Blue Diamonds, non-voting, Habuga Center Plantations, Waskadu Beach Resort and Blue Diamonds. Today's foreign purchases were 593.77 million rupees and foreign sales were 209.08 million rupees. There were 8 crossings today and the crossings turnover was 344.95 million rupees.
Well, here is Dimantha Matthews from the First Capital to tell us what they expect from the Colombo stock market this week.
We expect market activity to remain dull with low level of retail and high net worth institutional participation. Most local investors are likely to be on a wait and see approach due to the uncertain environment. However, foreign participation has seen a trend of significant improvement, especially on the buying side, with attractive valuations, and we expect that this trend will continue during this week as well.
More business news. The Sri Lankan rupee ended marginally weaker in thin trade today as imported dollar demand surpassed greenback remittances. Rupee forwards were active with 2-week forwards ending at 151 rupees and 85 to 95 cents per dollar compared with Friday's close. Here's a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other currencies during the day today. Welcome back everyone. In one of our headline stories, former Minister Vimal Weerawansa was further remanded until the 20th of this month after he was produced before the Fort Magistrate this morning.
Former Minister Vimal Weerawansa was produced before Court Magistrate Lanka Jayaratna at 9 am. The National Freedom Front leader was arrested on the 10th of January when he was called to the Financial Crimes Division unit to record a statement regarding allegations that he misused state property during his term as Minister of State Engineering Services, Housing and Common Amenities. During today's court proceedings, parliamentarian Vimal Weerawansa requested the Fort Magistrate for allowance to make a special statement. In his hour-long statement, Weerawansa elaborated that the 2 B reports produced by the Financial Crimes Investigation Division were drastically different. He also stated that his arrest was made in contrary to the Public Property Act and that action must be taken against the FCID for misleading the courts. Weerawansa alleged that the FCID has been conducting investigations biased towards the UNP National List parliamentarian Ashu Marasinghe and Deputy Minister Lasantha Alakiyawanna. Further, Vimal Weerawansa stated that during his tenure, the minister went on to explain inhuman conditions he was subjected to while in prison for 54 days. Weerawansa also alleged that the FCID is misleading the courts.
Also in other local stories, the leader of Pilivitruhe Urumea, Udayagamman Pila, says that a loss of 1.4 trillion rupees will be incurred by the government's new agreement with China regarding the Hambantota port. The parliamentarian made these comments during a media briefing in Colombo today.
China will give us only 80% of what they have spent on construction of the port. They do not pay anything for the properties. The port has been constructed on a land of 180 hectares, but they give away 780 hectares of land for free. Through this agreement, the government has also agreed to give away 100 hectares of land under the name Tank Farm Area, along with an island of 55 hectares for free. Although we are giving away everything for free, 99 years later, we would have to take lands back from China's then market price. According to the government's estimation on 27 February 2017, the annual tax amount should be 494 million rupees for 500 hectares. However, from China, the world's richest, they charge a much lesser amount. So 1 hectare would be $50,000. Accordingly, they should pay 15,000 million rupees for 2,000 hectares. However, they only pay a tax amount of 494 million rupees. For a 99-year period, the loss would be 1,436 billion rupees, which means a loss of 1.4 trillion rupees are to be incurred as a result of this agreement.
Trillion 1.4ක පාඩුවක් මේ ගිවිසුම හරහා සිද්ධ කරලා තියෙනවා.
The officer in charge of the Mardana Community Police Unit committed suicide yesterday at approximately 12:30 p.m. at his quarters at the Mardana Police Station barracks. The Chief Inspector of Police to the Mardana Police Department told Ada Derana that the police officer had been an asset to the department and had been in charge of organizing events that strengthened and developed the well-being of the community. The Chief Inspector also said that the officer had attempted to speak to his colleagues about a personal matter that had been troubling him, but unfortunately had failed to explain his grievances successfully. The officer's body was discovered about 3 hours after his death by fellow officers. The post-mortem has confirmed that the officer's death was a suicide. The Inspector General of Police, Pujit Jayasundara, says that the Inspector of the Kaluthara North Police Station should be held responsible for the recent shooting of a prison bus in Kaluthara. 7, including 2 prison officers, were killed in the recent incident. He said this speaking to media at a ceremony held at the Vavuniya Police Station.
This has been an act of negligence committed by the Inspector of the Kaluthara North Police Station. If the officer was unable to do his duty, he had a duty to notify the Assistant Superintendent of Police, the Superintendent of Police, the Deputy Inspector General or the Senior Deputy Inspector General as a top-level criminal was involved. If he could not have addressed the issue within his rank, he could have called for the relevant Special Duties Officers or the Special Task Force. This is a shortcoming.
We begin with some rugby news. The School Rugby League's second week of fixtures was contested over the weekend, with St Thomas's College and Royal College both in action. St Peter's hosted Royal College yesterday, while St Thomas's visited Zahira College on Saturday evening.
The match between St Thomas's College and Zahira College was held on Saturday, with the Thomians taking an early lead and finishing the first half with the score at 22-12. In the second half, Zahira College were able to restrict St Thomas's to just 7 more points, but were only able to manage 10 themselves. The game finished in favour of St Thomas's 29-22. Zahira fly half Zaid Singhawansa was the game's standout performer with 2 tries and 2 conversions. Meanwhile, Royal College retained the BC Angie Trophy for the 4th consecutive year by defeating St Peter's College by 17-10 yesterday. In hot and humid conditions, Royal College dominated the first half, scoring 17 to St Peter's 3. Despite a second-half rally and keeping the Royalists scoreless, St Peter's weren't able to overhaul their opponent's total. The scoreboard read 17-10 at the final whistle. Royalist Janidu Dilshan was named player of the match for his 2 tries.
As the annual school cricketing encounters continue, the 88th Battle of the Maroons between Ananda College and Nalanda College ended in a draw yesterday at the SSC. Let's take a look at the updates of the recent big match encounters.
Winning the toss, Ananda College invited Nalanda College to bat first. They managed to score 144 in their first innings. Nalanda's Sohanga Vijayawardena top scored with 37. Anand's skipper Kavishka Anjula picked 3 wickets for 37. In reply, Ananda College scored 190 for 8 before declaring their innings with a lead of 46 runs. Nalanda's second innings was a considerable improvement on their first, with Lakshita Rasanjana's 115 anchoring a total of 286 for 4. With bad weather intervening, the match was declared a draw. Meanwhile, Thurston College notched a commanding victory in yesterday's one-day encounter against Esipathana College. Winning the toss and electing to bat, Thurston scored 367 for 7 in their 50 overs, with Charana Nanayakkara scoring 83 and Imesh Viranga scoring 80. In reply, Esipathana batted out their full complement of overs but were only able to manage 203, succumbing to a 164-run defeat. Esipathana's Sanjulabe Vikrama shipped in 72 runs for the team.
Still in school cricket, Vishaka Vidyalaya and Museums College met at the Thurston College grounds in Colombo today in a match that is slated to be contested annually starting this year.
Winning the toss and electing to bat, Visakha scored 224 for no loss in their 20 overs. Chasing the target, Museums College could only score 80 within 18.4 overs. Visakha Vidyalaya thrashed Museums College by 144 runs in the first ever annual cricket match.
On to international news now. North Korea launched 4 ballistic missiles towards the Sea of Japan early this morning in a test that has been condemned by neighbors South Korea and Japan. 3 of the missiles have reportedly landed within the exclusive economic zone of Japan after a flight of about 1,000 kilometers.
The missiles are reported to be of intermediate range, but their exact type remains to be confirmed. However, South Korean military sources intercontinental ballistic missiles is low. The launches are believed to be in retaliation to joint military exercises that are currently being conducted between South Korea and the United States of America. North Korea has viewed the drills as preparation for an invasion against it. According to resolutions of the United Nations Security Council, North Korea is banned from conducting any missile or nuclear tests.
On to the U.S. now. The FBI has dismissed U.S. President Donald Trump's controversial allegation that his telephone communications had been wiretapped by his predecessor Barack Obama prior to the 2016 election. FBI Director James Comey also reportedly asked the U.S. Justice Department to publicly reject the allegations as there was no evidence to support it.
Trump made the accusation on Saturday via Twitter without citing any evidence as pressure mounts over investigations into his election campaign's alleged links to Russia. The claims were dismissed by former senior officials and Obama spokesman, but the White House has called on Congress to investigate whether the Obama administration had abused its powers. Under U.S. law, an electronic surveillance warrant can be issued only if the target has been proven to be an agent of a foreign power.
Some news from neighbouring India. Bollywood has been sent into a flutter of excitement after top filmmaker Karan Johar yesterday announced the birth of twins via a surrogate. According to Johar, choosing surrogacy had been an emotional but well thought out decision.
Celebrities have been congratulating Karan Johar on attaining fatherhood and for making the decision to become a single parent. The twins, a boy and a girl, were born on the 7th of February and have been named Yash and Ruhi respectively. Karan Johar is an award-winning director, writer and producer in Hindi cinema with several blockbusters to his credit.
On to the weather now. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the eastern, west, central, northern and north central provinces, especially after 2 p.m. There may be temporary localized strong winds during thunder showers. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by lightning activity. Here's the city by city forecast. Well, that is a part of your world tonight, right here on Other Derana 24/7. For the latest in local, international, business, sports, weather or entertainment news, log on to www.otherderana.lk or like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at Other Derana. I'm Mahish Johnny. Before we go, here's the highlights of the 10th annual Wife Carrying Championship that took place yesterday in the English town of Dorking. The race is said to come from a Scandinavian tradition, and men generally carry their wives or partners as they race the steep, often muddy 300-meter course. Enjoy the visuals and good night.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Derana 24/7.